What's up, everybody? Good day, brothers and sisters. This is Will Keller, and welcome to my first live stream show. We're streaming on the onegreatworknetwork.com and also on the social media platforms, and I'm stoked. So bear with me. It's gonna be an interesting presentation. So I got about an hour to dive into some deep material. So let's dive into it. The title of my presentation is called "It's All About Morality." This is a crucial topic. So before we begin, the material presented will definitely create an emotional reaction and could make you feel uncomfortable or, in fact, anger you. For this information will indeed challenge what you think to be true, what you believe to be true. Your belief systems will most certainly be challenged, and it is important to use logic and reason while acknowledging rising emotions, but do not let reactive emotions cloud or control your mental focus and take away from the information being presented. True open-mindedness is being able to receive new information without accepting or denying the information at first, but also a willingness to change. And with this topic, we're talking about morality. And a lot of people think they know what this is. They think they know, they have a good grasp on what morality is. But we're here to break down these walls and dive in a little deeper. So, there's nothing new under the sun, as the old saying goes. There's nothing new under the sun. This means that truth is objective and eternal. Reality remains reality regardless of whether or not it is recognized and accepted as such. Truth has always been here and always will be here for us to discover and align with. This is important because this is a deep philosophical point that a lot of people might not think about. But there is an objective reality. There is a way the world is. That is objective truth, absolute truth. And it's our job to gather information and align our perception to that which is the truth. Nothing in this presentation is new or unique. I do not claim ownership of any information. I am the creative messenger communicating this knowledge like few have before. I stand on the shoulders of giants that have spent their lives communicating this important knowledge. Belief is the enemy of knowing. Axioms are fundamental beliefs that have become widely accepted as true because they are perceived to be self-evident or particularly useful to those who accept them. Axiomatic beliefs have an extreme impact on the individual, for all new information may be blocked or denied for threat of the axiomatic belief. The individual's behavior is based upon information one holds. Since belief systems are not based in logic, reason, and understanding, it is a limiter of awareness, a box for consciousness. And this is what belief systems are. See, most people have been given their belief systems. You were either raised with certain type of beliefs, you learned them in school, you picked them up somewhere, someone told you them. But beliefs are not based in factual evidence or true axioms, these maxims that we can learn and understand and harmonize with. They're dogmatic. And this is a problem because all behavior is based upon what you know. What you know, the information that you have collected in life, right, dictates your behavior. So some of these topics, some of these points I'm going to touch on today are gonna spark you and fire you up for that very reason that they're attacking your beliefs in one form or another. They can. So it's important to understand as you go through this presentation. Do me a favor. In fact, I challenge you. This is the challenge of the presentation. I challenge you to just listen to this presentation and take in the information and then contemplate on it. Do some introspection later on. Put your beliefs aside. After the presentation with the information, you can go back and watch it, but then ask yourself, why do I hold the beliefs that I do? I challenge you to question your beliefs. Where do they come from? Why do you hold on to them? Why do you believe such facts or such topic points? And actually think about where they come from and the meaning of them. And this is why open-mindedness is based. You have to have a willingness to change, because if you hold a belief system and evidence is presented that shatters that belief, are you willing to make the adjustments and the change in the mind to change your behavior? So why is change difficult? Most people maintain the same environment for long periods of their lives, where nothing new is happening or there is no change. The repeated stimuli will therefore produce the reactionary of associative neural networks, which will become more developed, strengthened, and refined. As a consequence of the lack of novelty in their environments and experiences, they have become hardwired to their own worlds. No wonder change is so difficult. This is from the great Dr. Joe Dispenza. Evolve Your Brain and the Science of Changing Your Mind. And the meme, who wants to change? Everyone puts their hands up. Or who wants change? Everybody raises their hand. Who wants to change? Crickets. Later, and this is what this slide is talking about, is that belief systems are ingrained in our very being, and to look at yourself. This is what true self-respect is. You have to look again, to take another look, and question that, and then go through the process of changing, of leaving these false dogmatic belief systems and evolving in consciousness, in mind. And this will reflect your behavior. Awareness creates choice. You cannot solve a problem from the same level of consciousness that created the problem. That was a quote by Albert Einstein. And it's absolutely true. In order to solve a problem, you need to gather information and to tackle that problem. It's all about your state of mind. All change happens in the mind. So, if you're going to increase or reach a higher level of consciousness, well, consciousness is a being's ability to recognize patterns in oneself and in its environment. So it's pattern recognition. So how do you increase your consciousness, your pattern recognition? You need to take in information. You need to take in knowledge and then apply that. That's how you solve a problem. Of course, there's all types of knowledge, and there is such thing as correct knowledge. Ignorance, which the definition of ignorance is lack of knowledge, ignorance creates a feedback loop of fear. All fear is based in ignorance. It's the fear of the unknown. What you do not know is scary for you because you don't have the knowledge, the information to deal with it mentally, emotionally, or physically. So if there's a problem, knowledge is required. And that's what we're going to do today. So, if we're going to solve a problem, we need to understand the causal factors. In our reality, we have two planes as one. I'm not saying they're separate. They operate as one. We have the plane of effects. This is manifested realities which form because of their causes, which manifest because of their causes. No power to affect change lies here, but this is where our consciousness is trapped. This is the physical manifested realm. And then the second plane is the plane of causality, the why that underlines and precedes manifestation. All power to affect change lies here. Thus, this is where our consciousness must go. So we can look at this as the plane of causality is the mental realm. It's the realm of mind and energy. And if we're going to solve a problem, we have to address the causal factors. That's what we're doing today. The plane of effects it's already manifested. It's just the symptoms. One of the most impactful and powerful slides, how our reality is built. So here, this is showing how we co-create. We are co-creators. We're not individually creating reality. We are influencers of our reality, and we are co-creating all together in the aggregate our manifested reality. This process is also known as the truth discovery process, which is also known as critical thinking. It's the process of truth to discovery. Okay? We can apply it here. So starting at the base, right? Starting at the base, mind, you have knowledge or lack thereof. This is available information. This constitutes potential knowledge that may be gathered, processed, understood, and acted upon by individuals. This is step one of the trivium process. Gathering all of your knowledge, all of your grammar, get all the data, the raw data. We do this in the macro, right? To co-create our manifested reality as well. The next stage up is the understanding or lack thereof level decision-making processes. These processes take place in the human mind and are chosen by each individual based upon the available information. So we make our decisions based on the amount or the knowledge that we have occurred, right? And then from there is the wisdom stage, or lack thereof, human behavior. So each individual's behavior is based upon the quality of their decision-making processes, which in turn are based upon the quality of their available information. So we have, starting from the base, we have inputting all the grammar, all the information. The second stage, the understanding, is the processing, right? We're filtering through all the information to make a decision. And then the third stage, wisdom, which is the output, we act on our decisions, human behavior, and then the generated result, the manifested reality, the quality of the condition which manifests in any society is based upon the aggregate quality of human behavior within that society. So we have the collective, the aggregate of reality, right? All the individuals, the monads, the single units of consciousness make the totality, the aggregate. And if we're talking about reality and ourselves, this is what we need to know. Natural versus artificial. Natural is defined as non-man-made, of or relating to God. Now, you can take that word God and whatever you relate it to, but you still need to have, somewhat of a good definition. I'm not talking about the sky daddy, someone in the clouds. I'm talking about the one mind, source, the universal mind, the creative intelligence, regardless of what you call it, right? These crude terms, whatever you call it, it is the forces, the intelligence that is all around us in nature that human beings did not create. Versus the artificial. And artificial means man-made. Human beings created it. Now, there's two things. With the picture, you have a plant, right? A natural plant coming out of the soil. And then on the other side, you have chemicals that are man-made, right? There's also the mental aspect. We can have our thoughts can be in harmony with nature. But we can also create artificial thoughts and act on that. These artificial thoughts that we generate are false axioms. These are the belief systems. Moving on. So, of or relating to God, nature, the one mind, this is the creative force. What is this? This is above and beyond human beings, right? This is one problem, is that a lot of human beings think that humans are the apex of creation. And no, that's not the case at all. The forces of nature supersede human beings. I mean, it's unfathomable. So I'm calling this natural law. These are the laws of nature. There are the physical and the metaphysical. Metaphysical meaning beyond physics, right? Beyond physical. You could look at it as the energetic. So if you walk off a cliff, what are you going to do? You're going to fall down. That's a force. Gravity is the force of nature that you cannot escape. Same thing, there's metaphysical laws, and we're going to talk about those right now. What is natural law? Natural law is also known as universal law, spiritual law, cosmic law, moral law, karmic law, the law of cause and effect, the golden rule, and God's law. Natural law has nothing to do with Darwinism, survival of the fittest, the law of the jungle, or the so-called natural order. Natural law is based on objective morality. It is a set of universal, eternal, inherent, non-man-made, objective, unchangeable conditions that govern the consequences of the behaviors that we choose through our free will. It's natural, universal, spiritual law, not man's law. So, this is a portion. Now, first of all, the laws of nature are, multiple lifetimes of research and getting to know on a deeper level, a deeper understanding of how they operate. I'm just talking about one section that's extremely important for humanity, right? There is no end of the road. There's no, I made it to the top of the mountain. This is a constant process of discovery. But we're relating this to morality. So, natural law, it's the spiritual, energetic laws that govern the consequences of behavior on an individual level, but also on an aggregate level. And we're going to focus more on the aggregate level, but it always starts from the individual. Here's a little slide I put together. Now, natural law has been talked out for millennia, since the beginning of time. It's been called many things. It's been shown in deities, Isis, Ma'at, this is in the Kemet tradition and culture, ancient Egypt. And I have here on the left the actual law. Now, if you're not familiar with the metaphysical principles, the natural laws for the metaphysical side, here they are, the actual law, right? The word law means binding and immutable, unchanging conditions, right? Non-man-made. This is what law really means. The all is mind, as above, so below. Nothing rests, everything moves, everything is dual, everything flows out and in. Every cause has its effect, gender is in everything, right? These are principles for another presentation. I'm going to dive into these deeper. This is a slide I made for a conscious parenting upcoming episode to explain these principles to your children so they can get more in tune with how reality operates. So, what is morality? Morality is the objective, definitive knowing of right behavior and wrong behavior. Objective morality exists. It is inherent in nature, put there by creation, and is based upon natural law principles. Morality is not. Despite what you have been told, learned at school, or what a so-called professional has told you, morality is not subjective or relative to human perception. This is what objective means, that it's absolute. It's there. It's not dependent on if you recognize it or not. It's not dependent on your perception. Morality is not a cultural, social, or traditional construct. So a group of people, we see this in different parts of the world, people make their own moral standards. I'm telling you right now that is not the case. This is a belief system. We're going to talk more about that. Morality is it's not changed according to time, location, circumstance, or preference. So you can't, but we see this. This is kind of one of the problems that we're going to touch on, is that depending on the time, like prohibition, for instance, during that time period, a certain group of people said that it was immoral to put something into your body. And then it changed, right? So look at cannabis now. It legalized in many states, right? Legalized, man's law. But go back to the 90s and people were doing hard time for that, for a plant putting in your body. And we're going to find out why. Morality is not derived from government, institutions, or religions. Morality is not arbitrated, legislated, invented, or agreed upon regardless of how many people believe or wish it to be so. Now, this is important because we need to understand what a right is, because what we're talking about with morality is we're talking about what you can and can't do. And there is objective format for this, and natural law, the creative intelligence, has put natural law, these laws of nature, within ourselves, but also in reality for us to discover and align with, so we know what it means to be a good human being, but also how to evolve and grow in consciousness. So to understand morality, excuse me, we need to understand what is a right. Okay, a right is simply an action that does not cause harm to another sentient being. Now, there's unlimited amounts of actions that you can take that do not cause harm to sentient beings. I'm talking about humans and, yes, animals. We're gonna dive into that into another presentation, but follow me here. So there's endless amounts of actions that we can do. We're going to use a process, the apothetic method. And this is how I explain the apothetic method. What we're doing is it's negation, affirmation through negation. So this is how I explain it to my daughter. If you're going to find a needle in a haystack, how would you do it? You would use the apothetic method. You would burn all the hay, and that which remains will be the needle. So the best way to understand rights is to look at them in the negative. What is a wrongdoing? What is a wrong? And we're going to get into that in a little bit. But first, we need to understand about the individual. We are sovereign beings. Sovereign from Latin, super, above. Regnum means rule or control. So king or queen, one who is above rule or not a subject to any other. People hear this word sovereignty, it gets kind of thrown around, and but this is one of the most powerful terms. This is describing what we are. We're each sovereign beings. We are endowed with spirit. We are a fractal of God, of the one, the source, the creative mind, the one mind, here to experience ourselves. We have a subjective perception, but we're here. But to grow and evolve, we need to align our subjective perception to the objective reality. So we are sovereign beings. It means ruler of the kingdom of self. And when it says king or queen, it is talking about the individual, you yourself. You are king or queen. You are a ruler of one, ruler of self, the kingdom of self, meaning you, your body, your thoughts, emotions, and your physical body. So your thoughts, emotions, and actions exist in unison or one. This also equates to self-ownership equals internal monarchy. Monarchy being ruler of one, right? You own yourself. And that can never change. That is absolute. So we are sovereign beings, and we own ourselves. This is self-ownership. To have ownership means to own a thing an individual maintains rightful possession. I have my body. Nobody steps into my very being, right? I mean, these are questions you ask yourself. They seem simple, but we're here to simplify the profound. So it's important. Do you have rightful possession over your body? Okay. Do you control usage? I control what I do. Right now, I'm doing a presentation, and I control it, and I'm responsible for my body. I'm responsible for my thoughts, my emotions, and my physical actions. This is objective. Nobody can take this away from you, right? And it can never change. This is inherent. But we have a problem. So these are the transitions against natural law. Using the apothetic method, we can, through negation, through the negative, we can find out exactly what morality is. So the transgressions against natural law, these are the true 7 deadly sins. Murder. Taking the life of another, which does not belong to you. Assault. Taking another's physical well-being, which does not belong to you. Rape. Taking another's free will sexual consent, which does not belong to you. Theft. Taking property which does not belong to you. Trespass. Taking security in another's dwelling place, which does not belong to you. Coercion. Taking another's free will, which does not belong to you. And lying. taking another's ability to engage in informed decision making, which does not belong to you. Lying would be willful lying. I'm not talking about little white lies. I'm talking about the big lies, the lies that obstruct decision making. You're holding back truth. I'll give you an example. Like saying fluoride is okay to consume to put in your body, right? Even though it is a known, proven neurotoxin. Okay? That's the kind of lying that I'm talking about. So, with the 7 deadly sins, they all had something in common. And there is one universal law. Don't steal, which does not belong to you. Right? All of those sins, those wrongdoings, I don't even want to call it sins, that sounds religious. All of those wrongdoings have one thing in common: theft. It's taking something that does not belong to you. So, now we're going to focus the attention on humanity and what's going on. Humanity is rejecting learning via logic and reason and embracing blind belief via obedience and fear. There will be consequences by law, by natural law. This is karmic law, right? We are going to get what we give. The golden rule, right? This is an energetic exchange with God, nature, the all, and us individually, but also collectively. Now, this might be hard for a lot of people, right? The emotions are starting to boil. Blind belief in authority is the greatest enemy of truth. This goes back to what I was saying with belief. If you're clinging on to something that you think you know, your behavior is going to be dictated by that. So your ignorance will blind you from the truth, the objective truth, what's really going on. And this is unfortunately where we've been here for thousands of years. This is not a new thing. It's getting worse. Okay? For instance, now with censorship, you can't even speak the truth or even speak an alternative viewpoint if it's not going with the mainstream narrative. Okay? This is blind belief in authority, just doing what you were told. And this is what we see nowadays. So, the current human condition. This information is the most basic knowledge, but it is also the most ignored and hidden knowledge on this planet. Although most people today believe they know and understand what morality is, the observable evidence in the world clearly shows otherwise. In fact, the majority of human beings on this planet are not only ignorant to what morality truly is, the majority of human beings on this planet are completely immoral beings, completely immoral due to their thoughts and actions, thus condoning and contributing to the cause of suffering in the world. So that's powerful, and it's 100% true. Because of ignorance, the lack of knowledge of how reality operates, so what morality truly is, under natural law that has been placed here not by man, by humans, by the higher force to guide us, right? And unfortunately, this is the usurper. Usurp, to seize and take control without authority and with violence. Take as one's right or possession. If you do not accept my beliefs, then I will violate your rights. This is what we're seeing nowadays. This is the effect of the cause. The cause being we do not understand what objective morality is, what it truly means to be a good, moral human, to grow and evolve in consciousness. And because of that ignorance, the effect is having just unreal consequences. And we're seeing that now with censorship. Whether or not you believe this is happening, it is going on. It's just a matter of, will you actually look? Nothing popular is true, and nothing true is popular. Nowadays, we need to change that. We need the truth of morality and natural law to become common sense. And this is I want to say another thing about, if you do not accept my beliefs, then I will violate your rights. And this is what we're seeing. This is an attribute of a cult mentality, forcing your will, your belief systems onto people. And if they don't accept and submit, then you will harm them. You will violate their natural rights. Now remember, there's belief and there's knowing. You can come to know something that's true, and then apply it to yourself. There is an objective truth. So this is the problem. This is the root cause of all of the suffering going on this planet. It's moral relativism. Moral relativism is the ideology / religion that objective morality does not exist inherently to nature, and that right and wrong are subjective constructs which human beings may create and or decide according to time, location, circumstance, and preference. The majority of human beings subscribe to moral relativism, which they abdicate, meaning give up, their personal responsibility to choose between right and wrong action to someone they consider superior to them who would make that decision for them. And that's the ultimate cause. People think that morality is subjective, meaning we can make up right and wrong. And at any time. But then they abdicate their personal responsibility. They give that away to other people, like government or even religion, so they can be the arbiters of truth and nature, and they can dictate what is right and wrong. This is the cause of suffering and the situation we have going on in the world right now. Authority. The illusion of authority is based upon the belief that some people are masters who have the moral right to issue commands, and others are slaves who have a moral obligation to obey the masters. And this is what's going on. Moral relativism, we're giving away this false belief system, and then we think that groups of people can come together and dictate what is right and wrong, what these laws are. Okay, this is what government is, right? This is a fault. This is an illusion. And one way to figure this out is to apply the behavior in question to yourself. Do you have the right to command others? So, for instance, taxation, right? You have to pay 20%, a portion of the fruits of your labor, which is a part of you by extension. It is your property. Okay, all rights are property rights. So you have to give that, pay homage to the religion of government. Now, can I go next door to my neighbor's house and say, hey, what's going on, Jesse? I'm here to collect 20% of what you make every week. Right? Now think about that. That sounds crazy. Someone would be like, fuck you, get out of here. Okay, so can I hire a group of people? Can I get a group of my friends together and then we can do it? No, you can't do that, right? So why can a group called government do that? This is an illusion. This is fantasy. This is what a false axiom truly is. A belief system. It's not based in truth. So government, the word government means mind control. It literally means mind control. From the Latin verb gubernare, to control, and the Latin noun mens mentes, mind, to control the mind. Okay? There's two forms of government, as we were talking about in the definition of sovereign. There is internal government, meaning you are the ruler of one, the ruler of yourself. You control your own mind. And then there's external government. The global government, right? They control your mind. Government means mind control. This is the illusion, the group of masters, right? That's what they're claiming. They're claiming that they are superior than everyone else because they get to write the laws. And you can't say, oh, well, the people come together and we vote on this. Voting is an act of violence. You are violating natural rights. You can't come together and vote on what is right or wrong. You can't vote on that you're going to force your will onto other people. This is what the two-party system's all about. The left and the right. It's two birds. It's two wings of the same bird. It's two factions trying to impose their views onto other people. In reality, it's a Hegelian dialectic, meaning it's two paths that lead to one. It's all government. It's all part of the same thing. Government is false authority. I'm not challenging your authority. I'm denying it completely. This is based in objective truth, inherent in nature. I own my body. No one else can own my body. You can only make a claim, and that is illusory. Here's Leander Spooner, quote, "A man is no less a slave because he is allowed to choose a new master once in every terms." Something to think about. Think about this. And remember, keep thinking about your belief systems. See, when I'm diving into this information, the ego is going to come in strong and try to justify. Justify means to create. It's going to make all these justifications why the information being presented is wrong, right? Well, human beings are evil by nature, which is completely incorrect. It's absolute folly, right? If human beings are evil by nature, then why have human beings dictate what is right and wrong? So, you know what I mean? But that's not how it is. Human beings are programmable, meaning that we can program our mind. What we think is how we feel and how we act. We are programmable. We are not good or evil. We're neither. We're programmable. And all kinds of justifications. I could do a whole presentation on them, what people say, right? Well, this is a social agreement. Nope, false. False, it's not a social agreement. Politics is theater. Politics is a dialectic set up to keep people in opposition with themselves. It's a mechanism for controlling one's mind. I am self-governing. I do not need a middleman between myself and my freedom. George Orwell said, "Political language is designed to make lies sound truthful and murder respectable." This kind of information can be hard for people because same as the slide, change is difficult. It's been ingrained into your psyche. It must be looked at. Use logic and reason in what I'm saying and break it down and ask yourself the why. Okay. So, does anybody think back in the day with kingship, which is authority vested in one, was that ever moral? Most people would say no. One person saying that that person has the divine right to rule. God chose this person to rule over people, to dictate the laws. Right? No, that's completely immoral. But we have the same thing going on now today. It's not, instead of authority vested in one, we have authority vested in few, and they call that government. Same game, same false illusion, same belief system. And this is what it ultimately is. Slavery. Slavery is a claim of ownership on your person, the product of your labor or your possessions, in whole or in part. All natural rights are property rights. Understanding this is fundamental to understanding the condition of slavery. We all own ourselves and have the right to live freely and exercise our natural rights, provided actions we perform do not infringe upon another person's rights. Anyone who violates another's natural rights is making a direct claim of ownership, which by definition is slavery. So you own yourself, and when someone says, I'm going to tax you, I'm going to take a portion of the fruits of your labor, they're saying that they own you. It's a claim of ownership. Now, it doesn't matter, and slavery, this is the word, one of the words that people, they cling to their own perceived definition. This is why it's so important to define words and really get into them and step aside of what you think you know. When people hear the term slavery, they immediately assign their own personal definition to it, and they assign a time period, almost like a visual aid of what they think slavery is, okay? There's many forms of slavery, but what it is a claim of ownership. That's exactly what slavery is. It doesn't matter if you're stealing 1% of the fruits of someone's labor or 100%. It's slavery regardless. It's a claim of ownership, saying that you cannot put a substance into your body, whether it be a plant, a mushroom of nature, that this grows in nature, anything, to say that you can't do that. And if you do put something into your body, we're going to arrest you and put you into a cage. This is a claim of ownership. That is slavery with threats of violence attached to it. This is what it means to have a master and a slave class. A group of people think that they can dictate right and wrong. But it's not the group of people necessarily that are actually in government. It's the majority of people. It's those as well, but it's the majority people, the everyday people, any viewer right now. This is what you have to ask yourself about your belief systems, because if you don't know this information, objective morality, then you're ignorant to this and you are condoning slavery. Now, all we have to do is look at the observable evidence in the world today. Government is rampant. It's as strong as ever. It's on its way to physical bondage with this socially engineered perceived crisis going on, right? So just by looking at the effects, we can see the issue within the cause, that people believe in authority. That's the real mind virus, the real virus. It's a mind virus, and it's called authority. Human authority. Other humans have the right to dictate commands over other human beings. So here's another trigger word. Okay, don't assign your own personal definition. Let's look at what the actual word is, the etymology. It is anarchy. From the Greek prefix an, without, the absence of, and the Greek noun archon, master, ruler. Anarchy does not mean without rules. It literally means without rulers, without masters. This is why the mainstream news loves to use this word. Oh, someone burned a car. It's anarchy. That's a false definition, but they do that. So you, the viewer that's watching the propaganda machine, the television, mainstream news, they take that word and that's how they associate it. Anarchy being chaos and destruction. But anarchy literally means without rulers, without masters. No masters, no slaves. And if there's a condition of no masters, no slaves, what is that? Freedom. Anarchy and freedom, they're synonymous. They go together. They can be one. Freedom, the definition, is a noun. The state of free will expression without violation of natural rights. The condition of being free, the power to act or speak or think without externally imposed restraints. Emancipation from slavery. This is something to think about. A lot of people think they're free. How can you be free when the majority of people believe in authority? They believe other human beings can control and violate other human beings. Now, again, there's many forms of freedom, right? Mental freedom, internal freedom, and external freedom. One thing we need to do is it always starts from the mind, so we need to focus on ourselves, getting our perception in alignment with that which is, with the truth, under nature, to free ourselves mentally from these false belief systems, and then do the work to contribute to external freedom. The law of freedom. Freedom and morality are directly proportional. As morality increases, freedom increases. As morality declines, freedom declines. True freedom can never exist in a society that embraces moral relativism. This is by law, by natural law. We can know this. This natural law is a science. It can be observed. It can be discovered, observed. All we have to do is look at society and look in history over time, right? And we can see what the effects are. That government, this moral relativism, the belief in authority is getting stronger and stronger, and we're getting closed into bondage, right? Our rights are being violated more and more and more. That's because of moral relativism, the belief in authority. This is what the law of freedom is about. In the aggregate, the totality of humanity, if the aggregate is more moral, it will become more free. And if it is more immoral, then it'll become enslaved. Solutions. I follow natural law. I harm none, and I do not condone the harming of others. I do not condone violence and slavery through the belief of government. I know they are always immoral and can never be made into moral behaviors through justifications or beliefs. Here's a little mantra that I made. And we need to understand objective morality. First principles. Principles means first things firsts. And when it comes to morality, there's two principles to live by. Do no harm, the non-aggression principle, and the self-defense principle. the feminine and the masculine, we need to unite those as one. Meaning you do not cause harm, but if somebody violates your rights, which is a claim of ownership onto you, you do have the God-given right to defend yourself. Absolutely. The great work. The great work is to end human slavery by first understanding the dynamics of objective morality under natural law within oneself, to align one's actions to truth, then communicate this knowledge to the public. The universe is spoken into existence. The more we speak truth out to the world, the more reality will change, because human behavior is based upon their perceptions, or what they know. What we need, the great work to end human slavery, is about moral education. First, doing the work within yourself, in your mind, to align your behaviors morally, and then communicate this type of information out to the public to contribute to the current human condition. The slavery of humanity is the problem. Living according to natural law is the solution. Frederick Douglass: no man can put a chain about the ankle of his fellow man without at last finding the other end fastened about his own neck. Liberty for all, chains for none. I take this as the law of one, meaning we are all as one. We're individual units of consciousness having an individual experience, but we are fractalized from the one. We are all one human family. We're one with nature and the planet. So to harm another is to most definitely harm yourself. True spirituality is about freedom. Freedom requires action. Stay away from the dialectics or the misdirection and deception. These are merely the symptoms of an underlying cause. For those who do understand this information at a certain level, objective morality, natural law, do not get distracted by the symptoms of what's going on with this genetic modification, socially perceived crisis. Don't invest all your energy into that. Those are just the symptoms. Focus on the cause. The cause is, it's all about morality. That's my presentation, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in and viewing. Check out my work on the onegreatworknetwork.com. My name's Will Keller. And then please go check out my website, naturalfreedomleague.com. And we got some great videos on there, and we get out into the public and try to talk about this type of information for people. So everyone, thank you for tuning in. Agape, stay free.
The intention of Natural Freedom League is to expand the understanding of natural law, which is based on objective morality, and to expose the illegitimacy of the belief in authority, and thus the inherent immorality of all government.
We be the Natural Freedom League, cause we become no longer unbegun. We seek in the wisdom, and that's why we did come to this prison of prism. And that's why the beat thumps, and that's why we speak up. We be the Natural Freedom League, cause we become no longer unbegun. We seek in the wisdom, and that's why we did come to this prison of prism. And that's why the